since this channel was mainly started for ACCA's, exams are coming up. Most of my taxation students have exams on the 8th, and I want to go through some exam tips which are applicable to any paper that you are going to sit. I'm going to make this a bit of a general video, not entirely specific. I will relate it to tax, but it's applicable to any paper you're going to sit. Now, before I get into the details of the video, I would super appreciate if you like, subscribe, and hit on that notification button. Now, there are 7 things that I think are super important. When you are reading your exam paper, when you get that paper on your computer screen, do not read the question first. Read the requirement first. Often when we read a question first, we tend to not read the requirement in full detail, and we provide an answer that is more than the examiner has asked for. We provide too much, and that costs us to waste time in the exam. Let me relate this to tax for you. Sometimes the examiner asks you to calculate your taxable income, not your income tax liability. But because students have not read the requirement first, they just read the question, they say, oh, I've seen this type of question before, I know what I have to do, I have to calculate the income tax liability, and they waste another 5 to 10 minutes calculating the liability, whereas you're not going to get any marks for the liability, it's only marks you're getting for the taxable income. Read the requirement first and see what the examiner is asking of you. The second thing, when you are going through the paper, highlight small important points that you think you are going to forget. Now, for example, with relating it to tax again, sometimes in your exam, you're given the annual salary, which is great. You'll just plug it in. But sometimes you're given a monthly salary and the number of months that the person has been working for. Just highlight the salary and highlight the number of months. Sometimes people will just take that salary and plug it in, or take that salary and multiply it by 12 months when the person hasn't been working for that long, but just because you were kind of rush reading, you missed that bit of information. It's 1-2 marks that you lose, and why lose them? So highlight small important bits. In your FM exam, have you been given the pre-tax cost of debt? Have you been given the post-tax cost of debt? Have you been given a geared data, an ungeared data? Just highlight these small little things that will help you. The third thing that I always feel is good is that our Section C papers are usually broken up, for tax at least, into a 10 marker, then a 15 marker, then another 15 marker. Now, the 15 markers usually have about a 12 mark requirement and then a small 3 mark requirement. I always think, if it is possible, that 3 mark bit is a small theory bit that the examiner just wants to test your theory knowledge with. Answer that bit first. That's a 3 marks that you can easily get. Then go to the big chunk, because if you answer the big 12 marker and then come to the 3 marker, it's likely that you're going to be tired when you reach that and not answer that as well. And that's not necessary, because that will take you such a small amount of time. Just answer it, then go to the 12 marker. I feel like on an overall basis, you will have gotten a better score in that question. So something that I definitely applied to my exams. Most of your exams for your skill level are 60% multiple choice. If you don't know an answer, move on. It's only 2 marks. Don't sit there and break your head for 2 marks. Stress yourself out for the rest of your paper. Mess with your calm and cool, and then answer questions in a rushed and stressed out way. If you don't know it, move on. It's okay. It's only 2 marks. Understand that. I have so many people telling me, oh, ma'am, I wasted so much time on that question and then I couldn't answer the rest properly and my paper went badly because of that. Don't do that. It's 2 marks. Leave it. Now, what else? Formatting your answer does not matter. You do not need to make it beautiful. You get no marks for formatting. Spelling mistakes, once the examiner can actually understand what you're trying to say, do not matter. Do not focus on those things. Please do not waste time on those things. If you do have some extra time in the exam, what I always suggest to my students is that if there is something and you have shown an examiner a calculation equals this, so the examiner understands that you know what you've done, if you have a little extra time in the exam after you have checked over your paper, leave a small note at the side just showing the examiner examiner that, oh yes, I really understood this in depth. This is the reason that we were not allowed a capital allowance for the full 12-month period, or this is the reason that we didn't multiply by the business percentage. Just a small little note. It really gives the examiner confidence that you understand the material and that you understand the concepts that you're dealing with. Now, when the examiner knows that you understand these type of things, if it comes to giving you 1 or 2 less marks, which kind of determines passing or failing, they will give you more marks because they have confidence that you understand the material. So if you do have that little extra time, just put a small note somewhere showing the examiner that you really do have an in-depth understanding of what you're dealing with. And finally, I've said this and I've said this and I've said this, and my throat has gone dry because of it. Exam paper practice from the ACCA website. Read the examiner comments after you attempt the paper. The examiner highlights to you where students have gone wrong. It's likely that you have gone wrong in those places. I've just had a 6 to 7 day exam boot camp for tax. And the reason that I had it is because I don't trust my students to do those papers on their own. So I made sure that I did it with them for 1 hour every evening. Examiners are not creative. The reason that examiners are not publishing section A and B questions anymore, or sometimes they only publish 2 section C questions, is because they reuse these questions. Why not attempt the questions that they are going to reuse? Do it. It'll give you such an advantage in your exam. It's crazy. So just to recap the points that I've made to you, read the requirement first. Highlight the small points in the exam that you may miss when you're reading through the paper. Answer those 2-3 mark questions first before you go to the big stressful chunk, before you go to that big 12 marker. Don't waste time. If you don't know a multiple choice question, leave it. Don't mess with your mindset and don't waste time. Formatting does not matter. The examiner just has to be able to understand what you're trying to say. Does not need to be beautiful. If you have any extra time after you have checked over the paper, leave small notes to solidify the confidence in the examiner that you understand concepts. And finally, guys, today is the 30th or 30th of May. You have about 7 or 8 days left. Take 1 day every day and practice a past paper. Trust me, after your exam, you will appreciate that you have done this. These are my tips for your exams that are coming up in a week. I want to wish you all the luck and all the love for your exams. I know that sitting them at home again is a stressful thing, but good luck, good luck, good luck. And if you like the video, press on that like button, hit on that subscribe button, and that notify button. Thanks, guys.